I want Star Trek's origin movie, even more after watching Black Mirror's USS Callister. Black Mirror's USS Callister is many things. A biting satire of toxic fandom, a dark twist on digital immortality, and a brilliant homage to Star Trek. But more than anything, it's a vivid reminder of the emotional power and cultural reach of classic science fiction. Watching Jesse Plemons' twisted take on a starship captain play out in the candy-colored virtual world of Callister didn't just make me appreciate Star Trek more. It made me want a proper Star Trek origin movie more than ever. Because beneath the satire and horror of USS Callister lies a deep yearning for the kind of hopeful, idealistic, high-concept storytelling that Star Trek pioneered in the 1960s. And if there's one thing that episode proves, it's that the idea of Star Trek, its structure, values, and universe, still has the power to inspire and resonate. So why hasn't Paramount given us a definitive movie about the beginning of the Star Trek universe? USS Callister captures the spirit of Star Trek, while twisting it. USS Callister works as well as it does because it understands Star Trek to its core. The episode's faux starship is a love letter to the original series, from the brightly lit bridge and swishing doors to the captain's godlike authority and the crew's moral dilemmas. But it also deconstructs that universe with terrifying precision. Jesse Plemons' Robert Daly isn't just a power-hungry coder. He's a man obsessed with an idealized sci-fi world where he gets to be the unquestioned hero. What makes this chilling is how much it mirrors the real-world legacy of Star Trek and its fandom. The utopian society Gene Roddenberry imagined was always vulnerable to being co-opted or misinterpreted. USS Callister turns that on its head, asking, what happens when the values of exploration, peace, and diplomacy get warped by ego and insecurity? And yet, despite its darkness, USS Callister reminds viewers how iconic and enduring the Star Trek mythos is. Even stripped of its ethics, the template is instantly recognizable and still compelling. Watching that episode made me realize just how powerful it would be to see the real origins of Starfleet, the Federation, and the first brave steps into the final frontier. Star Trek has never fully explored its beginning. We've had decades of Star Trek stories, from the 23rd century of Kirk and Spock to the 32nd century adventures of Discovery. We've seen alternate timelines, deep space wormholes, time-traveling androids, and even mirror universes. But one thing Star Trek has never done, at least not on the big screen, is show us how it all started. Sure, Star Trek. Enterprise touched on some of these foundations, exploring the early days of space exploration, first contact with the Vulcans, and the formation of the Federation. But Enterprise was a slow burn, and often trapped by its prequel format. What we've never had is a grand, cinematic telling of the story that sets up everything. Zefram Cochrane's first warp flight, Earth's contact with the Vulcans, the slow rebuilding of a post-World War III civilization, and the moral and political challenges of creating a galaxy-spanning alliance. Imagine a movie that opens in the ashes of a devastated Earth in the 21st century, as humanity teeters on the edge of collapse. Then, a spark of hope, Cochrane's warp ship taking flight, and the Vulcans descending from the stars. From there, the movie could trace the fragile, uneasy peace between Earth and other species, the rise of Starfleet, and the birth of the Federation, a true origin story, rooted in struggle, vision, and idealism. USS Callister proves the format works with modern sensibilities. What USS Callister does so well is show how the classic Star Trek format can be modernized without losing its charm. The sets may look retro, but the themes are very contemporary: abuse of power, digital consciousness, the cost of unchecked authority. If Black Mirror can make an old-school starship setting feel so emotionally relevant and suspenseful, imagine what a fully funded Star Trek origin movie could do. It wouldn't have to shy away from the darkness. In fact, a proper origin film could confront it head-on. After all, the future of Star Trek is built on the ruins of our present. That's part of what makes it hopeful. It doesn't imagine a perfect world from nowhere. It shows how peace, science, and exploration are choices made by people who've known war, fear, and desperation. A Star Trek origin film could be the ultimate blend of grit and optimism, showing how humanity earns the stars. It could be sweeping and operatic, with space battles and political intrigue, but also deeply personal, a story about flawed humans,